Shalom, Yasha. First and foremost, we give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash, the honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the hopeful elect that's pushing the great gospel of sincerity and truth. It's your brother Tazakai Yahweh from the Great Millstone Annapolis camp, coming at you another lesson through the spirit and the power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. And Lord willing to be edified. Got an article here from dailymail.com, and it reads, mayonnaise, Diet Coke, lettuce, and even beef are in short supply on supermarket shelves. And let's say dailymail.com explains why and what you can use as a substitute for these staples. Which this article came out February 11th, but it's updated February 16th of 2023. The hopeful year that all the prophecies come to pass. And it reads, we got a few bullet points right here. Say, soaring prices, labor shortages, and extreme weather have hit supply chains. Say, what did I miss? Social media users are aghast at empty supermarket shelves. They say dailymail.com examines the biggest food shortage you can expect this year, and we gonna get into them, you know. Because, like I said, definitely since the whole crown thing popped off or whatever, there has been more and more shortages of just various items. And one thing I noticed is it's never really the same items. It's different items and different items and different items, meaning there's more and more shortages, not just hitting certain categories of food, whether it be like poultry, dairy, beef, whatever the case may be. But there's always different items that's a scene that they pretty much saying that there's a shortage of. Salakia. So able to go ahead and get into it. Say, if you notice your local grocery store shelves looking more empty than usual recently, you are not alone. In scenes reminiscent of the early days of the pandemic, supermarkets are being wiped out of eggs, orange juice, lettuce, and even champagne. I guess these images trying to load, but oh well. Say food shortages first emerged following Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022, which that's a lie. Like I said, these shortages been honestly, I can say from what I've been, when I first came in, like at least 5 years ago, like they've been having shortages. Don't try to. They always want to blame stuff on Russia, this and that. No, this stuff been happening because what the Crown came out 2019. And that's when they started saying like families of biblical proportions around that time period. So now don't get me wrong, now the war do have an impact on whatever the whole fiasco is, but at the end of the day, it's not because of that. These shortages been coming to pass. Why? Through the spirit of power Yahweh by Shema Shai. Because why? He said there will be famines. Right? And nearly a year later, they are still lingering. It's caused prices to skyrocket, with the cost of a dozen eggs more than doubling from less than $2 to $4 in the last 12 months. Now, social media users have been sharing snaps of empty grocery aisles, as one person commented, things will get worse before they get better, Yeah, at the end of the day, it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. It say, here dailymail.com takes a look at the worst shortages expected to continue this year and what substitutes you can use to replace your favorite foods, right? So these are some of those items right there. It's more, but now look at this right here. Just got back from Ukraine war zone and can't wash my clothes in the U.S. as these shelves are completely empty. No detergent. What did I miss here? Like that's. But look at this though. You see these shortages, and I know we've having. We're seeing these for the past year or so, but some people think it just be, I don't know, they just in la la land, they think this stuff is not real. But at the end of the day, it is, but hey, reality gonna hit, it's gonna set, and then what, you gonna bug out. But going on, it says, eggs. America's egg production has been rocked by the largest global bird flu outbreak recorded in history. Wonder how that, came about. Coupled with increased cost of fuel, feed, and packaging, eggs make up the biggest shortages in the U.S. grocery aisles. According to the Department of Agriculture, more than 58 million birds in 47 states have been affected, prompting a 7.5% drop in domestic egg supply over the last year. The cost of a dozen eggs in New York increased by 57% in January compared to the same month a year ago, according to market intelligence firm Data Assembly. So it said this. Here it is, folks. No eggs in my town. All stores are empty. At this time, there's a nationwide shortage of eggs. with high seasonal demand. You may notice fuel supplies are higher prices. We apologize for the inconvenience. So it says, can they be substituted? The growing popularity of veganism has given a rise to a host of egg substitutes from brands such as Beyond Egg and Just Egg. However, these are very different from regular eggs, often coming in powder or liquid form. Meanwhile, when it comes to bacon, the plant-based blogger Sharon Palmer recommends flax seeds, chia seeds, and aqua fiber. Hellmann's has been forced to discontinue sales in South Africa due to rise in production costs. You know, so it's like I said, it's not only just shortages happening here in the U.S., but like I said, it's around the world. Like this is a global issue. But like I said, a lot of people, don't be paying attention to that. Like see, they say it will get worse before it get better, so they thinking they might as well get better, but it's not. It's a widespread egg shortages have had a knock-on effect on mayonnaise production. The problem is so rife. Major manufacturer Hellmann's announced it was discontinuing sales in South Africa due to rising production costs. According to the Consumer Price Index, the cost of mayo has jumped by 18.2% in the last year. Can it be substituted? Food bloggers and chefs recommend everything from avocado to Greek yogurt with dill to replace mayonnaise in sandwiches. More adventurous alternatives include blended cashews, and Hellmann's, among other manufacturers, also do a vegan mayo product, which is not impacted by the nationwide egg shortage. And so, you there's that little false sense of hope, that probably it's gonna be okay. You just substitute it with this, it'll taste just the same or be like it. No, let's say lettuce production has been hampered by warm temperatures in California, where much of the vegetable is produced. What's more, last fall, I believe California is like, I think they more responsible for like over a third of the production of just crops and everything like vegetables and stuff like that. For America. So and then what's been happening over there, the wildfires. The snow done came. But also what drought. The vegetation and everything over there, the agriculture, agricultural growth over there has definitely been stunted. By Yahweh Shemel Shai, it ain't prospering as it once has. It says, what's more, last fall, California Salina Valley, known as the Salad Bowl, due to its high lettuce production, was infested by an insect-borne virus. That's not good. They say the region, which accounts for half of the entire lettuce production in the U.S., lost 80% of its crop in 2022. Hey, that's the Lord breaking the staff of the bread, so to speak. They say this means it has become one of the biggest casualties of inflation, with the price of lettuce shooting up 4% between November and December, according to the CPI. And supermarkets have been sent into a tailspin by the shortage, with some said to be rationing their supply, which is what they're doing over there in the UK right now. They rationing stuff, rationing food. They said this is a very dire situation that's gonna be, that's gonna definitely could be a catalyst to trigger, but definitely. Also, been protests and civil arrests done popped off because of famines and lack of food and all this and that. But this can send the world to a frenzy. And send it to like it's just anarchy everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Because that's one thing that you want to control, how you control the people and sway the people. One thing how you do that is what control their food, and what they can eat and what they can drink. Right, they get the bugging out, and the tensions get the flaring, they get the hyperventilating and hallucinating this and that, but they lose their mind. So pay attention to that. It's a beef. Consumers can expect a beef shortage this year, which could stretch well into 2024. So these, they think, well, how the hell it to stretch that long? It's whatever. We know, hey, we not ignorant to Satan's devices. Because let's just say this, like, we know that Yahweh Shemashah definitely bring a natural, famine and stuff like that, stop food production, so forth and so on. But at the end of the day, also he can use man to withhold such items, saying harvest and stuff like that, which is it have been recorded in time past that men have did that. Like they actually have it, but they just they store it away or don't bring it to the public shit. It's just like you ain't got it anyway, you know. So they say this industry has been hampered by a drought in Texas, which is responsible for 14% of the nation's beef cow herd. The climate means that there is not enough grass for the cows, while alternative feed is too expensive for ranchers due to inflation. right? Inflation definitely kicked a lot of these farmers in the in the rear end, so to speak. But it definitely, inflation is not good. When it comes to farmers and what they buy, man, they paying for things that's triple or quadruple the price that they did in previous years. So at some cases, they just like, man, we just gonna grow what we can just to feed our family. They can't even grow enough to even make revenue off of it. So hey, let's go to those who till the ground shall mourn. They mourning. That's one of the reasons why they're mourning. Price is too high to even be a rancher, to even be a farmer. But it goes on and says we have had a large amount of colon this year because of drought. Livestock specialist David Anderson told the Washington Times at the end of last year. So can it be substituted for things? A few things can mimic the taste of beef exactly, but vegetarian alternatives from brands such as Beyond Beef and Impossible are available in most mainstream. Get that 3D meat. Grocery store, mainstream grocery store. That madness. Beef production. Also, we read that already. What's that? Orange juice. Orange juice is now let's say it's the orange juice and liquid gold or whatever, says experts amid ongoing shortages of the fruit. Florida's orange production fell victim to Hurricane Ian back in September, with suppliers still feeling the consequences now. Between 2022 and 2023, the Sunshine State orange production is expected to drop 51%. Whoa, according to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. This makes it Florida's lowest output since 1936, 1937. Damn. It says the industry was already being battered by a rise in labor costs. Panama-based commodities and future analysts recently told the Wall Street Journal that the crisis meant orange juice had become liquid gold. Can it be substitute? Nothing can exactly replace the taste of orange, but experts recommend using other citrus juices and extracts, such as pineapple and cranberry and bacon. And as we get to the article, I'm gonna speak on that these substitutions as well. Now look at this, soda, which definitely harmful for you. Hey, those who indulge. Hey, if I can recommend anything for you, do it in moderation. But or ultimately don't do it at all. But let's say soda production has been hit by an earthquake of shortages, claims Coca-Cola CEO James Quincy. It says soda production has been rocked by double whammy of shortages in aluminum used to make cans and carbon dioxide. The CO2 shortage was particularly devastating, having started during the pandemic when much of the gas was needed for Vicky production. So last year, Coca-Cola CEO James Quincy said the industry had experienced an earthquake, and it seems unlikely shortages will soon ease. Last week, Bloomberg reported that Americans face record metal prices, with the cost of shipping aluminum driving 20% of its sky-high costs. Can it be substituted? All carbonated drinks are being hammered by the same supply chain issues, but high-sugar fruit juices and iced tea could provide alternative refreshment. That's the bad thing. That high sugar, trust me, take my word for it. You don't want to go down that route. Just stay away that as much as possible. Or like I said, moderation if you can't help the urge. But it go on to say butter. Their production is tight this year, as farmers are battered by a shortage in labor. Milk production fell in 2022, and while it expected to recover slightly this year, the stock of cold store butter has diminished to its lowest level since 2017, according to the Wall Street Journal. Not only are shortages set to persist, but the cost of butter will remain 65% higher this year than it was last year. Can it be substituted? Luckily, butter is one of the easiest ingredients to substitute, with a wide range of alternatives available, including margarine and olive oil-based spread. Champagne. It's a fizz lovers are in for even more bad news, as champagne production is set to stall this year. Just as the drink has rocketed in popularity in America, they say the U.S. is now the largest consumer of champagne outside of France. But drinkers may struggle to find the glass this year. Say last year, the U.S. became the biggest consumer of champagne outside of France, while global demand skyrocketed. But this increase in custom created pressure on the industry, with some producers restricting sales to keep up. The issue is compounded by the fact that champagne producers had restrictions imposed on their grape harvest in 2020 by the trade group Comité Interprofessional de Vinde Champagne. But yeah, it say producers were ordered to make 20% less champagne as the industry prepared for a market slump sparked by the pandemic, which did not occur. So it says Michael Drapier, a family-owned Drapier Champagne, shared with French language news platform BFM business that the industry was forced to restrict sales during the holidays, including the upcoming Valentine's Day. It would be terrible if we had a shortage of champagne to celebrate Saint Valentine's Day. He said, like, because that was just so horrible. See, they didn't, but look, that's and that's part of the wickedness that this world, that this world is ran in to call such things. That's why. How much they say? As a matter of fact, here, let me get it real quick. I gotta flashback to this. A little boop. Second Ezra chapter 15 verse 5. Behold, saith Yahweh Shemel Shai, I will bring plagues upon the world. So it's Yahweh Shemel Shai bringing the plagues upon the world, whether it be like say his natural plagues when he sinned, or he used man to do some things, whatever the case may be. Right? You say what? What's part of these plagues? The sword. What? Famine, right? Lack of food, lack of water, lack of anything, a scarcity of harvest. Anything that's lacking that's a famine, a shortage of it. Right? Death and destruction. Why is this happening? For wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. That's why these shortages and these famines and stuff being said, because the wickedness that the world's being read in, and the wickedness that the world follow and uphold. That's why. Right? Talk about it would be terrible. Okay. In the time period to come, you gonna definitely want a bottle of champagne. You gonna want something hard, 80 proof moonshine, when all hell's breaking loose and you be through. You gonna definitely need a drink then. It say, can it be substituted? Prosecco, cava, and all sparkling wines are generally popular and budget-friendly substitutes for champagne. Suck you. Get a little silly. But that's all on that, so these are the shortages that they say to look out for. Now, this is what I was going to say. With all these substitutes, right, here's the thing. When you keep telling people and trying to instill some type of hope and say, well, you can substitute with this, what happens when the substitute becomes, the shortages of the substitutes, when they start to deplenish? Then what? Or deplete, well, that's a word. But what happens then? When the substitute, now there is a scarcity of the substitute, then what you going to do? Here's another one, then here's another, then what you going to do? See, that false sense of hope and that pride that settle in people, that's why many people going to be troubled. And many great miseries going to happen to people. Why? Because they dwell in great pride. As 2 Ezra 8:50 speaks on. You see, Yahweh Shemashai, and he definitely gonna visit that pride. And those visitations are happening right now on a small scale, but it's really not small because people are really affected. Right? But just because you still have the accessibility to go to Walmart or Kroger's or County Market, whatever, to go buy something, this and that. But then what? While you going to buy it, you start to see, well, damn, it ain't shit in this aisle. Ain't none of these rows. See, reality going to eventually set in slowly but surely. And then when the time here come, you going to be left out there to dry as a thief in the night. Right? I want to read this real quick. A little pressed for time, but I just want to read a couple of paragraphs. This is from CNN.com. It say North Korea's food shortage is about to take a deadly turn for the worse. Right? Experts say. This came out Friday, March 3rd, 2023, the hopeful year that all the prophecies come to pass. And it reads, say y'all with North Korea. Concerns about North Korea's chronic food shortages are growing, with multiple sources suggesting this week that deaths due to starvation are likely. Some experts say the country has hit its worst point since a 1990s famine known as the Arduous March caused mass starvation and killed hundreds of thousands of people. Damn. Or an estimated 3 to 5% of what was then a 20 million strong population. God, that's a lot of people. But hey, as the scripture say, man, we gonna get it, man. But they gonna die by the famine. They say, oh, it's lucky for that. They say trade data, satellite images, and assessments by the United Nations and South Korean authorities all suggest the food supply has now dipped below the amount needs to satisfy minimum human needs, according to Lucas Rengifo Keller, a research analysis at the Peterson Institute of International Economics. It says, close to inconceivable in North Korea, where the elite and military take priority, Rengifo Keller said you would have hunger-related deaths. So that's really okay. Hold on. Let's see. South Korean officials agree with that assessment, with Seoul announcing recently that it believes deaths from starvation are occurring in some areas of the country. Though production Though producing solid evidence to back up those claims is made difficult by the country's isolation, few experts doubt its assessment. Even before the crown pandemic, nearly half of the North Korean population was undernourished, according to the UN Food and Agriculture Organization. 3 years of closed borders and isolation can only have made matters worse. And a sign of just how desperate the situation has become, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un held a 4-day Workers' Party meeting this week to discuss a revamp of the country's agricultural sector, calling for a fundamental transformation in farmer and state economic plans and the need to strengthen state control of farming. So we're just going to leave it at that. Like I said, it tells you, man, these people are expected to die. You know what I'm saying? From the shortages that's going on. Like I said, it's going on worldwide, not in just certain remote areas. Now, some places it's hitting harder than worse, but guess what? The major, let's say, everything that normally happens around the world, trust believe, the Babylon the Great gonna get hit the hardest. So when you see all these things, you know, oh, they're a third world country, or they're this, or they're not as boisterous, or their economy's not as good as us. Guess what? When the Lord wiped that pride off y'all faces, when He's bringing these plagues, and then you remain them, as the scriptures gonna say, hey, you're not gonna have that prideful thought, right? You ain't gonna be like even right now. The proud ass looks ain't so proud. So look, more and more tears and misery is gonna come to Babylon the Great. But yeah, we just gonna go ahead and get to these scriptures. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 18. It says the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, right? People are in sorrow, great mourning in around the world. The beginning of famine, see, the beginning of famine and great death. Because that's a great death coming from, just from Yahweh Shema Shai sending the death angels wherever they saying are to render judgment at, right? 1,000 people dying here, 1,000 people dying there, hundreds of people dying here, dying there, right? And a great number of people definitely gonna die from the famine. They say what the beginning of wars, and we've seen these wars, going on, and others starting, and people getting riled up, and kingdoms against kingdoms, so forth and so on. And the power still stand in fear. Even the power structure, all the way up to the top, to the elites, they stand in fear, right? And then you already know that lesser lumens, they stand in fear as well. Because why? Well, ultimately, the elites know that what they draw closer to the end of their rulership. And then everybody else underneath them because their life is about to turn into shambles. That's what they know. Well, they don't know it, but it's gonna come to pass, and that's what they feel. Right? It say the beginning of evils, right? Well, it's evil meaning bad times. That's what's coming. It don't say the beginning of good times coming. In this I know, and this ruler should know the beginning of bad times. What shall I do when these evils shall come to pass? And with the elect, the world will, that hopeful elect number 8, what we're gonna do? We're gonna confide and put our trust in Yahweh Shema Shai and meditate in these scriptures. So what? So when the time period come, as the scriptures say, wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of thy time. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to hold fast what we have that Yahweh Shai have given unto us and keep believing and have faith in them to deliver us out of the said perils that He going to bring to the world. Verse 19, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. These are a few things that sent as what? Scourges, what? Corrections for your punishment. These are whoopings, beatings that Yahweh Shai is sending to you for the wickedness for the wickedness that have exceedingly polluted the whole earth. That's why these things are happening. They just the Lord just want to pick on people. No, this is called what? Payback, retribution for what? The offenses that you caused, that you committed against your Yahweh Shema Shai. Right? Now, ultimately, what? Mainly who gets judged by that is what? Israelites, because they was given the law, but you other nations gonna feel that wrath as well. Because who's in power right now? Who's in rulership? Esau, Edom. Right? It said what? They say that reached up to heaven. That the Lord see everything that's going on. That's why He punishing this world accordingly. Through what? Their wicked deeds and the rest of the nations who follow after them as well. And you 2/3 of Israel as well. Y'all all gonna pay. Right? But let's say, but for all these things, they shall not turn for their wickedness, nor be always mindful of discouragement, even going through stuff like this. Right? They're not going to turn for their wickedness. You see what they said? Well, don't worry about it. We have a substitute. It's going to be okay. Don't worry. It gets better. It gets worse before it gets better. Right? Not going to be mindful of these things. Right? You're going to continue to live wickedly. You're not going to turn to the light, so to speak. At the end of the day, because why? Yahweh Shai don't want you to. He has a set judgment to happen to you. Right? While we over here hoping for what? Salvation and protection. Y'all gonna get delivered to death and destruction when the time period comes. Right? It's so yeah, y'all not gonna care about what's going on, and then what's gonna be more misery is gonna come upon thee. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they should think themselves to be in a good case. But that's what people like. I say. You can still go to your little McDonald's, Burger King, and get something to what you may see relatively cheap, whatever, give you a little meal, whatever. But shit, even those prices rising up. When the time period come, when inflation setting in, inflation hitting. A lot of people not thinking that they in good case, but yeah, you are right now. You still can get things that are affordable right now. But again, the time period will come where it ain't gonna be as such, right? And even then, evils, what bad times shall grow upon earth. Sword, what famine again, and what great confusion. See, Yahweh Shemashah is bringing destruction to this place. As the scripture say, but here to heal Babylon, but they are not healed. Ain't Babylon ain't gonna be propped back up in its glory and its fullest? No. This place is decaying inside out. That's why of doing the Yahweh Shemashah, and also to the rest of these nations, the rest of the world who follow like suit, who done got in bed with this whore. And y'all gonna feel the wrath too because y'all here to uphold the standard of Esau Edom. So everybody gonna get it, right? Verse 22. They say, for many of them that dwell upon earth shall what perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. That's the lot that's set for a lot of people. What die by famine, to die by starving to death, getting a lack of nourished. You see those people say, well, there's malnourished, lack of nourishment, lack of food. Well, you're gonna die from that. You're gonna wither away, shrivel up. Your body gonna eat itself within that, inside out. Then you gonna die. That's what's gonna happen. So hey, it's one thing to do to, keep like I said, one thing I do personally, I like to keep an eye on the famine and food shortages and the supply chain disruptions and stuff like that. But like as I'm telling you, as I've been reporting for the past 5 years, it done got worse and worse and more items have been added. So expect for that to happen. But if those who are hopeful elect, they continue to believe, and have the faith that how much I've given you, and they hold fast, man, hold on, right? Because they say, hey, but all these things must come to pass. They say, what? Be not troubled when these things come to pass. Because they must come to pass before what? You can enter into the kingdom. Through much tribulation shall we enter into the kingdom, right? So we got to go through it to get, ultimately, hey, you got to go through the orders to get through it. So what? What we do, man? We just, we praise as a hope, right? So we just hoping that, we've been delivered through whatever sad perils that Yahweh Shemashah sit here and hopes to endure to the end and receive salvation. So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying to sincere Akim out there listening. I want to give all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakak Kodash, the honors of our apostles and elders of great millstone who rule well, and peace and blessings to the hopeful that splits the great gospel in sincerity and truth. Shalom, Yasha Allah, Abad Babal.